Hi everybody, so I've got a few new things to show you today, starting with this new skin tint from Makeup Forever, and in the same line, the Super Boost, they've also launched new lip glosses. So I've picked up a really pretty sparkly pinky lilac one, so can't wait to show you both of these. I did a full 10-hour wear test on this yesterday, so I can show you how I got on, and obviously we can look at it applied today. And I've picked up 3 shades in the brand new Rhode Peptide lip shapes. So I've tried to spread them out across the colour range so you can have a reasonable idea of the sorts of colours and the ways you might use them. I've also got a number of lip pencils that I love in similar sort of shades with similar sort of uses. And you'll see what I mean when I show you that, but I will be doing comparisons with those as well as trying these on. And I've actually got some of the blushes that I got last year, and I'm going to try and see if these will work as a combination on the lips. So lots of things to show you today. I cannot wait to get started with this. And if you're new here, hi, my name's Hannah. I'm 48. I'm not a professional, but I am somebody who loves makeup and beauty. And here on my channel, I like to show you the latest releases, my favorite looks, and give you any beauty news you might be interested in. And I also have fair to light skin with neutral/cool undertones, and I've got blue eyes. If you think you'd enjoy this sort of content, I'd appreciate it ever so much if you did like and subscribe to my channel. It's really very helpful. And if you're already subscribed, welcome back. I really do appreciate you being here. Anyway, let's get straight into this video. So I have hit a problem with this one straight away, and that is with the shade match. So I've gone for shade 01. This is the lightest shade. There are 18 different shades, but if I just look here at the shade descriptions, the shade 1 that I got is described as for very fair to light. So I am not very fair, but I am fair to light. So if this says very fair to light, that sort of suggests I'll be within that range. And this one is for neutral undertones. There are no cool tones in these. Well, there certainly weren't in the first 5. The second one, which looks a bit deeper, is described as fair skin with warm undertones, and I definitely can't go for warm. And then the third one up is fair skin with yellow, so that's even worse because yellow looks terrible on me. And then the fourth one, light skin with golden undertones, so I definitely couldn't go for that. And then it goes straight to medium skin with neutral, so there is no cool option. So I've gone for the lightest, but I think they could have done with at least one more in between the lightest and the next one up, because I can't leap to a warm. I have to stay either neutral or cool. There's no cool option, and this is quite light. But I did find, and this does happen with skin tints, they're quite wearable when they're not quite the right shade. So you will see now this does actually make me look a bit pale, but once I've added a bit of contour and everything, it's not a massive issue. But I think that it would be better if they introduced ideally some cool shades with options of depth, because this is so light. But anyway, that's my only really big issue, so there aren't too many negatives about this one, but let me show you, and hopefully today there won't be any more. So here is the packaging, which is very different. It's got this sort of pump at the back. Now some people might think this is quite cheap packaging. I can't say I'm particularly bothered about it. I think it's nice to have something a bit different, a bit funky. So let me give you a little bit of information just before applying. So this one costs, it's $36 if I'm looking here on the Sephora app. I actually got mine from Look Fantastic, and the price on Look Fantastic here in the UK is £32. So this is described as a hydrating and plumping skin tint with buildable sheer to medium coverage, leaving a radiant, healthy skin finish and a non-oily feel. This is good for people with dryness, dullness and uneven skin tones, and the benefits are the hydration. Highlighted ingredients are polyglutamic and hyaluronic acids, which hydrate and visibly plump, and then grapefruit extract, which promotes healthier looking skin by helping to improve your skin's quality. And then other call outs, this is completely free of parabens, formaldehydes, formaldehyde releasing agents, phtalates, mineral oil, retinol, palminate, gosh this is a long list, oxybenzone, coal tar, hydroquinone, sulfates, SLS and SLES, trichlocarbon, this is testing me isn't it, triclosan, and contains less than 1% synthetic fragrance. So there we go, that's a long list of what it doesn't have. And this should give your complexion an instant and long-lasting boost. with the comfortable gel-like formula, hydrating and smoothing with the help of the polyglutamic and hyaluronic acids and the grapefruit extract, improving your skin's quality. Unique push to dispense tube offers a customizable coverage with precise control. And the ingredients list, I'll pop them both up on the screen, because the first ingredients list, which I'll pop up this side, this is for shades 1 to 15. And then the other ingredients list I'll pop here now. This is for shades 16 to 18. So there's the ingredients for you. So when it says you can customize how much, I think, to be honest, you'd have to just get used to the pump to really be able to customize it. I like the way that I can read what's on the bottom of this, because usually I need to find my reading glasses to read the bottom of anything these days, especially makeup, and even with reading glasses they're often not easy to read. So it's nice and easy to read on the sticker which shade I've got there. And here is the actual tube without the lid. And the pump action, it just sort of pushes a bit of air and it comes out, and it's quite easy. It's not particularly stiff. So that's one tiny little pump, and that's how much I've got. So there's the colour of this. You can see it's quite pale. I think I could have just afforded to have gone up a tiny little bit. So I'm going to use my Rapha LC03, which is particularly good for skin tints, although this one isn't overly runny, so I do wonder if I might get on well with this with a sponge. In fact, you know what, I'll go quickly off camera and I will dampen my sponge and do one each side, because I would like to test that, because I am finding with my winter skin that sponge applications are giving me a much better result. So I'll just quickly do that. So I'm back and I've got my damp sponge. So like I said, I'll do one each side. So yesterday my application went very well, apart from one thing which was fairly small, which happens with so many things, and that was a little bit of caking around here, which was quite obvious because this is so pale on me. And that was pretty much immediate with application, and it lasted all day, and it was a bit more visible by the end of the day, which you will see with my check-in video after this. But yesterday I didn't put any primer on whatsoever. So today I've gone in with the Bobbi Brown face base, my most sort of trusted face base, especially for dryness, which I tend to get around here in the winter. So we'll see if it's better with that face base, and also maybe with a sponge. So I've taken that onto the brush. Now can you see that that entire pump I put on my hand has nearly disappeared, and this brush doesn't particularly absorb product. So I'll give you an idea of how lightweight it is. And this did say it can go up to medium coverage, which I personally think is not accurate. So I wouldn't ever think of a skin tint as going up to medium coverage, and I would never buy a skin tint hoping for that sort of coverage. I always think of them as being very light, your skin but better. But even with the brush apparently absorbing it, it's still keeping it here in the tip, because it's such a good brush and it's distributing it quite well. I feel like it's going on a lot more nicely than yesterday, and a lot more quickly actually. So maybe the Bobbi Brown face base, as usual with me, is saving the day. I will put a little bit more though. So again, one little push, a very gentle push, just to get a little bit more. And like I said, this is how you can just set it to your specific needs and personalize it with that pump, rather than having a big pump come out. So I suppose it is better in that sense, because sometimes you have to have the whole pump and you only want a quarter. So I was able then to just put a tiny bit out, so it is customizable. Oh, that's looking a lot better than yesterday. Let's see what it looks like around my nose though. So far, I think it's okay. I'm not 100% certain. Let's see how it dries down. So you can see the coverage I'm getting with this, and I'm not really going to build this up more, because I've gone in for sort of 2 little pumps, and I don't think I'd want any more than that on. I feel like I've got quite a lot on. It's not particularly heavy, but I've certainly got enough, and with it being quite pale on my skin, I don't really want to have too much of it, because that could really ruin the finish. When something's pale and you over apply, that's when it can really go wrong, I find. So there's the side where I haven't done it, so you can see all my redness there, and here is the side where I have, where it has evened out my skin tone. I do think it's actually very good. I don't think it's giving much in the way of coverage though. It is super light. So I'm going to go in for another pump. I do think that all of these brands, you know, that are basically upgrading to all these skincare ingredients, they're all hitting the mark quite high, and they're all coming out with really good formulas. So that's how much I've put on, and I'm going to use my beauty blender this time, which looks filthy, but I have washed it. Now I would expect the beauty blender to absorb this a lot more than the brush did, so we'll see. I don't know if that's better than the brush. It's certainly applying it more thinly because the sponge does absorb the product, as we know. It's certainly going on very evenly. I can still see redness though. I think I'll put a little bit more. I didn't put much on the back of my hand, to be fair. If I don't tap it into the sponge too much, so it's actually like that coming out of the sponge. When you keep pressing into your hand with a sponge, that's when it can really absorb it. So that's sort of 2 mini pumps just in this area here using the sponge. And can you see the redness corrected, especially around my nose? It's nicely corrected actually. This is definitely a your skin but better type of finish. It doesn't look like you're wearing any sort of foundation. It doesn't look like you've got much on in the way of coverage. You can still see marks coming through, but it certainly evens things up and gives you a more healthy, natural finish. Quite a bit of a sort of healthy shine as well, which I personally would have to take down, but for those of you out there that love a glowy finish, this is definitely going to give you a bit of that glow. You can see it well. I think I'm very shiny actually. Maybe having the Bobbi Brown face base on is adding to that, because that does leave me with a bit of a glow really. And obviously it's got a lot of hydrating ingredients in, so I'm adding to those ingredients, so my skin is hydrated to the max right now. And I can't detect any sort of fragrance actually. It did say that it was, what did it say, 95% fragrance free? Something like that. I've got a feeling I can still see a little bit clinging into this area around the nose. Let me put my magnification mirror on. Well, I'd say it's pretty minimal. It's definitely a lot better than yesterday. I can hardly see it this time. So I do think having the primer has made a big difference. We'll see how it looks when powder goes on top, because when powder goes on, that can make it even worse, but I have to have powder, especially in my T-zone. Even though this is a dry area, I do then get an oily T-zone, which is more like here. It's so complicated at this time of year. It is literally the worst time of year for me, for my skin. This is when it really starts to be tricky and I can't figure out what it wants. So I will get oils coming through here, but then dryness there. So bizarre, isn't it? And then chin area and here I'll get oils coming through. In fact, yesterday and the day before I had quite a lot of oils coming through, and then I'll get a run of days where I have none. So it's really hard to predict. So at the moment I'm not wearing anything to stop the oils coming through. I could do that. I could put a little bit of my Denona Myrex powder serum, which is phenomenal for doing that, or I could use my Act London deodorant, which I've also been really loving for keeping those oils at bay. But I don't want to do that today because I already know my oils will come through without really ruining this, and this is a skin tint, so a bit of natural oils coming through is really not an issue for me. But just to let you know, if you don't want them to come through at all, I would use products along those lines as well as the face base if you have my skin type, which is predominantly dry combination skin with a slightly oily T-zone. And if you have a very sort of finicky skin around this time of year, I'm filming this in February, so we're coming to sort of heart of, well, not the heart of cold weather. It's been cold weather for a solid month here in Wales, and we're now going through another cold spell. So this sort of long continued period of heating on in the house, my skin's starting to have more issues with dryness, and I'm having to pull back on my tretinoin routine and mix things up a bit to try to prevent it. I haven't actually had any skin peel on my face. I just have a tiny bit of dryness that only becomes apparent when I'm putting my foundations on. Anyway, that's enough jabbering about that. Here is the skin tint on both sides. So you can see that the tone, once it's worked out, is probably accurate actually. I don't feel like I look as pale. I think it's made such a big difference putting this primer on, I really do. I think it's just melted into my skin beautifully with the primer on, whereas yesterday it sat on the surface a little bit, and that's where I saw the white. So it's definitely behaving better on me and looking much better and much more natural. So I'm actually quite happy with the shade now. So maybe shade 1 is absolutely fine. So if you've got mostly cool, leaning a little bit neutral, undertones, shade 1, and you're fair, shade 1, it seems to be fine. So as long as you're wearing a primer apparently. I will go off camera, I will do the rest of my base, and I will just come back to show you when I powder it, and then I'll show you the lip gloss as well before we move on to the lip pencils from Rhode Beauty. So I've gone in with a bit of contour and concealer, and I've just set underneath my eyes using the Pat McGrath Under Eye Setting Powder. This is in the lightest shade, Shade Light. And I'm using the Nikki LaRose N14 brush from BK Beauty. And because I had this sort of caking issues around the nose with a slightly more yellow toned, warm toned powder yesterday, I'm thinking of just using this because this is much better and more lightweight. I think if I'd have used my Givenchy Prisme Libre press powder in shade 1 yesterday, which I love, that might have also had a better effect. So I'm just doing the T-zone area where I tend to get more of these caking issues using this powder. And we'll see then if I've got that problem, because my nose is still looking much better than yesterday. And for a lot of you now, you might think this is where you'd stop because you really like the natural glowy look. And it's not that I don't like it. Let's see, and there is powder collecting there. I think in this area, I need to be really careful about how much powder goes on, so I'm going to completely stop there. But yeah, as I was saying, a lot of people might stop now and enjoy this glow, but it's not a dry glow, it's very much a tacky feel, very tacky. And obviously because I've got that hydrating primer underneath, it's almost doubling the tackiness, and my hair would stick to my face and I would hate the way it feels. I can't stand it. Like I've said before on this channel, it's almost like a phobia. I can't bear the feel, I have to. Like even down my neck where I've got a bit of skincare at the moment, I've got to do it because I can't stand it. So I'm going to go in and powder all over. But I can tell you from wearing this yesterday, I did have quite a bit of natural oils coming through and a bit of a healthy glow come through. So I didn't have a particularly dry, matte look to the face, but I then didn't have the stickiness because I set it. So that's the most important thing for me. I'm looking around here for my puff. Today I'm using the Makeup Forever, which is very suitable, seeing as that's what the skin tint is. This is the HD Skin Setting Powder, and I've got this in the shade Corrective Rose, shade 0.1, which has become one of my most used loose powders. This one and the Mario, I'd say, are my top two at the moment, for loose powders anyway. Just a little bit of that. It's taken down the shine straight away. I can still feel a bit of tackiness though, so I will over powder because of that. And this is just personal for me because I cannot bear the feel. I love this powder because it never seems to look too heavy. I think the Mario one is a little bit heavier, so especially if you're using it over something like a skin tint, I think this powder is perfect. It also has a nice sort of blurring quality about it, so you can see the side that's not set there and then the side that is. I also prefer the finish, the way it looks. I don't like to look too glowy. Like I said, I don't hate the way that it looks, but I do prefer the feel and the overall effect of having it set down so I don't have too much of a shine. Which side do you prefer? Obviously you could wear it either way, but this is the way I like to wear it. So there is my full face done now with powder. And definitely the cakey area there, it's definitely better than yesterday. Just a tiny, tiny little bit visible. And like I said yesterday, it didn't get worse, it just didn't get better. So what you saw in my check-in video is pretty much what it looked like in the very first instance when I applied. So I'm hoping that means this is the worst it will look. And my check-in video is very positive. I'm going to actually play that for you now, so here is the check-in video. Hi everyone, so this is my check-in for the Makeup Forever Skin Tint, the Super Boost. So this was going to be an 8-hour check-in, but if you're watching B, I've just got off the phone to B, who has a YouTube channel here, B Shops Pink, and since doing this we've become really good friends, and a phone call that started about, I don't know, 2.5 hours ago has just finished. So because of that, you're getting a 10.5 hour check-in, so probably that's better for you really. I noticed literally as I was chatting to B, I looked in the mirror and could see the amount of shine starting to develop here. So it's not terrible, but I'm definitely getting some oils coming through. So today I wore 0 primers. So it's just gone straight on top of my vitamin C and toner. No primers whatsoever. Probably didn't need any actually, but I did almost instantly have a bit of caking around the nose and here, but not a lot, just a tiny bit. And I do wonder, with the shade being that much lighter, if it would have been as obvious. But I saw a little bit on the nose and around here. I will zoom you in to show you, and it hasn't improved. From a distance, it's absolutely fine. From this sort of distance, I don't think you'd pick up on it. I certainly didn't. When I checked in the mirror in other rooms of the house, I thought it looked great actually. But when I look in my magnification mirror, I can see it's still a tiny bit there. It hasn't really got worse. It also hasn't worn off the chin, which for a skin tint is actually phenomenal, because I don't think that's ever happened with a skin tint. So the longevity of this is excellent. I don't think my face looks any different from application this morning, apart from maybe the caking's a tiny bit worse there. But this is an area where I always cake with almost everything, apart from the new Galan, which is just miraculous on my skin. But tiny bit coming here. Anyway, let me zoom you in. So here is a close-up. Maybe you can see now the sort of caking I've got here. Sorry, that's my dogs coming out of the garden and going up to bed. So yeah, a bit of caking there. But on the whole, I think my complexion for a skin tint looks really good. And I've also used no setting spray today. And I've also, I did set. So I probably would need to set again if I wanted to go beyond 10 hours. Now I can't see in my lifetime really wanting to do my makeup at 10 hours later and go out, but if I was, then can I powder here where it's gone a bit shiny, or will it look a bit cakey on top of these areas? Actually, it's not too bad. It looks a little bit too powdery, but nothing terrible. I do feel like my nose is starting to look a bit rough. Sorry, I'm dipping down. Now I'm zoomed in, you can't see. So yeah, the nose area is not looking great. You can see it more now. The powder is going into that cakey area and highlighting it more, I think. So yeah, the nose is not great. So I wouldn't say this is my favourite skin tint at the moment, but tomorrow when you're watching this, I will have applied a base, so we'll see if that caking is gone with the base, then this could be a really, really good option. So I'll leave you now to me reviewing this the next day. So as you can see from the check-in video, it wore very well. You can see I needed to touch up with powder, which also went on reasonably well, where my oils had come throughout the day. And like I said, I could do something about that by locking the oils in with my Denona Myorex powder serum, or with my Act London, I call it deodorant. It can be used to keep oils at bay all over the body. So it sounds weird when I say deodorant, but if you've seen me showing that, that works as well. But I didn't use that yesterday and I haven't used it today. So my oils will come through if I don't do that at this present time. Next week I might not have oils, but just be aware that you might need to do that if you've got an oily T-zone. But otherwise, I think that's given me a really good finish. I'm very pleased with it. I wouldn't say this is my favourite skin tint out there. I wouldn't say this beats the Laura Mercier, for instance, which I recently showed you and absolutely loved. And I think the Laura Mercier was probably right up there with my Lisa Eldridge favourite, which is the skin tint from Lisa Eldridge. I think it's Seamless Skin, is it called? But anyway, if I've got that wrong, you know which one I mean. But yeah, it's pretty close. I do have to say that it's pretty close. I think if it was just a shade more deep, the shade, instead of having that sort of white finish, I feel like it's a bit white, and that's why I get that cling on there. But I think the coverage might be a tiny bit more than the Lisa Eldridge, but the finish is beautiful actually. I really cannot complain at all, and it's a really reasonable price. So definitely worth looking into this one. It's very good, and Makeup Forever on the whole, they really do come out with some very good products. In fact, I've had something sitting in my desk here ever since it launched last year, which was the face palette from Makeup Forever. I've taken this on holiday and used this exclusively for everything, and you can see the state of it. I dip into this a lot for the contour and the bronzers mostly, and then you can use this for foundation and for concealer, And then you've got blushes and highlights here. It's beautiful, really beautiful. They have some lovely formulas. So if you're not familiar with Makeup Forever, I really do recommend trying their products. They also have a beautiful powder foundation. So it is another winner for me from the brands, and certainly encourages me to keep trying stuff from, encourages me to try more products from Makeup Forever. So on to the next product. I'm going to show this now because obviously we're moving on to the Rhode lips, so I'll be taking this off. So this is the Makeup Forever Super Boost Lip Gloss. So this gloss is $26 or £23, both available in US and UK at the moment, and I've popped links below for you. And there are 11 shades. 3 of those are shimmer, so obviously I've gone for a shimmer and I've gone for a lilac. I am really quite obsessed at the moment with lilacs, and lilac and shimmer, I'm absolutely in there. Look at that. I was so excited when it arrived. It's just my idea of perfection. Let me show you it swatched out on the back of my hand. I did actually try this yesterday on top of something, on top of a fairly clear, in fact it was the Too Faced lip injections, which I will show on a different video. And I have filmed a shorts reel trying it, but I put it on top of that. Oh, perfection. It was a lovely combination. I'm not going to do that today because my lips will start plumping up like mad from the lip injection. Look at this on the back of my hand. Look at that. It really is a proper, true shimmer, but you cannot feel the bits in this. It's completely clear. It's quite sticky and tacky, but you cannot feel them. But wow, does this shine. So let me put this on my lips to show you. I haven't actually tried this without something underneath, so I'll be interested to see. Oh yeah, this works fabulously just on its own. That is beautiful. I'd definitely like to wear this on top of something like the Dior Glow in the sort of lilac shade. I've got it here, what's it called? The Dior Glow Pink Lilac. This looks much better with a topper. So again, this could be really nice as a real shine lilac topper. Look at that, I'll just zoom you in. You see the pink catching in the light? But it will show up more on top of a lilac. I love it. And it's not the sort of sticky formula that I don't like, and it's not going gloopy. When I do that, it's not doing it at all. Oh, I love it. Very grippy, thick gloss, which feels so hydrating and comfortable. Tiniest sensation of cooling. So does it say that this plumps? I haven't actually gone into the details. Let me have a look. Just zooming you back out now. Yeah, that cooling sensation is building, but not in an uncomfortable way. So this says it's a nourishing lip gloss designed to plump and soften the feeling of your lips for up to 12 hours. Designed for comfort and moisture. Upgrade your pout with a mirror-like shine. I think it is quite mirror-like, isn't it? Enhanced with a high precision lip grip applicator, the lip gloss delivers a refreshing cooling sensation with every swipe. That's all I've actually noted down. I didn't really show you the doe foot, but it's a very nice soft doe foot. It's a very funny sort of shape, but it makes the application really pleasant and it works really well. It also holds a lot of product. See how much more I got then? So I can really get that lilac shine. I do feel like that's product overload on the lips now, but it's still not going gloopy and it's still not sliding out of the lips. Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. It's stunning. That's got to be one of the best lip glosses I've tried in a while, you know. I love it. So that is shade 03 Festival Lilac Pearly. Now I want both of the other two shimmery ones. I must resist. I must try to resist. Watch, by the time I edit this, I'll probably be putting a note saying I've already bought them. I'm so tempted. Anyway, I'm going to go off camera, do the rest of my makeup, and then we'll be back to look at the Rhode Beauty lip pencils. So I've gone on and done the rest of my makeup, and now it is time to try these new lip products from Rhode. So I've cleaned my lips completely, I've got nothing on. I also have the tiniest of lips, and my outer line is starting to fade away here, so a lip liner is really helpful. I've never had any sort of filler or treatment in my lips, so that's why they're so tiny. So it'll be interesting now to see if this can do what they promise, which is give me fuller lips without doing anything other than putting this on. So I do, like I said at the start, have a couple of the Rhode blushes. One of them is a peachy shade, which is Spicy Mauve. So I'm not going to use that because that won't go with any of these. But the two I might try with it is Piggy and Sleepy Girl. So I've got these two, which might go quite well with maybe a few of these. And I'm going to do the swatch comparisons. Like I said, the shades I've got quickly anyway are Lift, Twist and Stretch. So these are £28 and you get 0.75 grams in each one, described as a contouring lip shaper which will enhance your lips effortlessly. Here is a list of all the different shades you can get in this. This is a peptide lip shape which combines soft focus colour and high performance skincare to give your lips dimension. Creamier and more seamless than a lip liner, it glides on to create a contoured effect and delivers efficacious ingredients that visibly enhance lip volume. So I haven't actually noted down what the ingredients are. I just might click the link to see if there's any information on that. Yep, the key ingredients: peptide, which is a short chain of 3 amino acids that help to soften your lips for a visibly smoother appearance, known to boost hydration, and fenugreek extract, which is derived from organic fenugreek sprouts, which visibly enhance the look of your lip volume and give lips a firmer appearance. So they're the main ingredients. So I'm just going to go ahead and try these and swatch before trying. So what I've done, these are basically, if you're familiar with the Lisa Eldridge Sculpt and Shape that came out last year. Lisa Eldridge has always had lip liners, but she launched her Sculpt and Shape liners, which were much more about sort of enhancing your natural colour. So that they were launched in neutral, cool and warm sort of tones at various different depths. So you could find the exact match or you could find a contrast match for your lips. But we're not here looking at multiple shades. So you'll notice the shades of this are very, very similar. This is a different sort of thickness and a little bit more soft maybe than the Lisa ones, not a lot, but really similar. And then there's a few in the Charlotte Tilbury range that I think are quite similar in having those neutral shades. So they're the ones I've pulled out because I think if you've got those in your collection, they'd be the ones you're most interested in. So I've tried to pick 3 shades which sort of cover the 3 types of shades. So I've gone for Lift, which is a soft neutral pink, Twist, which is a warm taupe, and Stretch, which is a neutral mocha brown. So we're going up in the sort of depths. So the first one I'm going to show you is, I think I'll finish with the one I want to wear, which I think would be Lift. That's the one I think would be my sort of natural, my lips but better shade. And maybe I'll start with the colour I don't want to wear today, which is Stretch, the deepest. So on these, they don't actually have the colour of the lip product on the pen at the bottom, but they do have it here. So here it shows the colour and it gives you the name. So that's quite useful because you can actually read it, even when you can't read without reading glasses in my case. So here you can see it's quite a chunky nib. It's not that sort of fine, thick nib. I'm just going to see, is there a sharpener? Yeah, oh no, there isn't a sharpener with these. I forgot. It's got this smudging out end. So how this will be as it goes along, I don't know. Will it still have that fine tip because it doesn't have a sharpening tool in it, and I wouldn't really want to put that in a sharpener. So hopefully this won't lose its sort of fine now because it is slightly fine, which makes it easier to line. But I think only time will tell with that one, so maybe look for my end of month review to tell you if I still think it's as accurate. So this is going to be really dark on me. And before I do that, I'm just going to compare it to the ones I've got that are slightly dark. I think this one will be actually a lot darker, to be honest. But anyway, so this one is Stretch Neutral Mocha Brown. And the ones I've got that might compare a bit from the Lisa Eldridge range, I've got the Sculpt and Shade. I said Sculpt and Shape, didn't I? Sculpt and Shade, sorry, in 2N. Here we have 2N from Lisa. I've also got 1N from Lisa, which is a lot lighter actually. There's 1N. and 0N. I've only looked at the colours on the ends of these, thinking which ones match. So clearly all the neutrals are the ones that match this. So this is going to be the lightest of all of them. So this is 0N. Probably my favourite out of the neutrals actually, for an everyday sort of nude. So that's the Lisa Eldridge 0N. And then I've just got one Charlotte Tilbury, and this is the Lip Cheat in the shade Iconic Nude, the one that's so popular. So I'll put that the other side so you can see the difference. Again, slightly warmer Iconic Nude. So there is Iconic Nude, and here we have Stretch. So it's different to all of the ones in my collection, so it looks like I don't have this in this type of lip liner. I'm going to leave them to dry down so we can see how they're all doing when I go like this, but I'm going to give it a little bit of time. So the first thing I'll do now is try it on. Now I don't think, I'm just thinking now with a, maybe I could go for Sleepy Girl. Sleepy Girl is this colour. I don't think that would really work with this as liner. I think it's too dark. Anyway, let's just see. It looks dark, doesn't it, like this? But when you put it on, when I put it on my hand, it's not that dark. Well, that's gliding on very easily, very creamy. Quite hard to go wrong actually, that's really good, even though it's that sort of chubby finish or size. So I can slightly go outside the edge, but not too much because it's so much darker than my skin tone. So there we have it, just as a liner. And then you can go in with this on the end, which I thought was going to be quite hard, but it's not that hard. So it's quite comfortable actually, because I did test these out yesterday. And you can sort of soften the edge. I would normally do a brush, use a brush or a finger to do that. So I think what I'll do is take a bit more of this and fill a bit more of the lips with it, but leave a little bit in the middle for the blush slash lip to go on the top. It doesn't feel particularly drying, which is good. Very, very easy to apply. So I've just left that sort of pinky spot there in the center of my lips free. So I'm going to try Sleepy Girl here, which I'm actually going to take on my finger. Yeah, I think that works actually. So there we have Stretch with Sleepy Girl. And it's very, very comfortable actually. I'm very comfortable. It doesn't feel like it's drying at all. I don't feel a burning desire to put lip gloss or anything on top. It's very nice and hydrating. Really, really complimentary. I don't think it's exaggerating the lines in my lips at all. What I can tell you is from trying this yesterday when they arrived, I tried exactly this sort of look. Where I've put it onto the actual lips, not the outer edge, it did disappear after a meal. Whereas where I've lined on the outer edge, it did last a few hours, not all day, just a few hours. And that's probably because when you're eating and drinking, you don't tend to get these areas touched in the same way. But it doesn't have the same lock-in as other liners. And I've just now gone over the back of my hand. I should have shown you as I was doing it, but I just did to test it. And look. Can you see there's only one left? Can you guess which one it is? This is the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat, which is phenomenal for staying power. And these three you can faintly see are the Lisa Eldridge, which also have a reasonable staying power. I get quite a long amount of time out of these actually, despite them coming off like this one, I've done that. But the Rhode one, which was here, is the one that's disappeared. So the least longevity out of the three I'm showing you, which are the only three I think that have this sort of more neutral, it's certainly in my collection anyway, have this more sort of neutral, your lips but better type of shade that you'd use it for. And it's got the least longevity, but at the same time it's the most hydrating. If you're happy to keep applying, and it is quite easy with the chubby end, so it's a sort of different product. So I'm not necessarily unhappy with that. So now I'm taking out a makeup wipe to get that Charlotte Tilbury liner off. I'm going to take it all off my lips and let's look at the next one. So the next one I'm going to show you is Twist, and this one is a warm taupe. This one might be closer to the lighter ones I've just shown you actually. So there is Twist. So this one is Iconic Nude. This is the new Rhode Twist, and this one is Lisa Eldridge in 1N. I've seen this demonstrated by Hailey Bieber, and in her demo she used Piggy with this, which is a combination I probably wouldn't have thought of, so I'm going to try that because it looked beautiful on her. They really are quite foolproof to apply, they really are. And with this being much more lighter, it's a perfect sort of nude. I could wear a nice nude brown or a nude brown pink, I think, with this, if you wanted a Your Lips But Better sort of day. And I'll take it up a little bit more here, but leave a little bit more of the lip available for that Piggy shade. They really are so easy. You can see I'm talking as I apply it, it's very easy. I'm going to slightly over apply to see if it gives my lips that fuller look. So going outside the edges a bit here. That's very nice. I can see me using this one quite a lot actually. So this one is Twist. Very nice. That would look nice with the new MAC nudes as well, I think. So I'm going to put Piggy on, which is this light pink. Gosh, what a combination that is. Oh, I like that. See, I wouldn't have thought of that if I hadn't seen Hailey suggest that. I really like how hydrating these combinations are as well. This just adds a little bit more hydration as well. I think with the last colour, I'll put it all over the lips so I can tell you how it feels, but no, I really like that. So this one is Twist. I keep reading my notes, I'm useless. And Piggy. So the last one I picked up is Lift, and this one is a soft neutral pink. This looks like the perfect sort of shade for a Your Lips But Better on me, a sort of match for my lip colour, I think. Let me just swatch it on the back of my hand, and if it is, it'll be a good match for the Pillow Talk Fair, which is my absolute favourite. So here it is. This is the Pillow Talk Fair, which I absolutely love. And then here we have this one. The next shade up is a little bit more of a deep pink. I didn't get that one. That one's called Press, and it's described as a warm pinky mauve. But again, it's warm, so it wouldn't have the sort of cool tone that Pillow Talk Fair has. So this is definitely not replacing Pillow Talk Fair. I've got Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk actually, so you can see how it compares to Pillow Talk. Pillow Talk is a lot deeper. There's Pillow Talk. And I've got another Charlotte Tilbury, which is Icon Baby. That's Icon Baby, and here we have Lift from Rhode. And from the Lisa Eldridge, I'm just going to compare this to 1C. So there's 1C, and here is Rhode. So you can see it is the lightest with Rhode, so it probably matches the best with Pillow Talk Fair. It's not a million miles off, is it? So it's a lot lighter than any of the others I've shown you. So anyway, this time I'm going to put this one all over the lips. Now that's pretty good. It's just given me almost my natural lip line back, the one I've lost as I've aged. Not quite, you can see it, but it's pretty good. So this is definitely a shade I could try to overline a bit with. Superbly quick, they really are. So that's how it looks, just slightly overlined, giving me a slightly more plump looking lip. And I'll fill the whole lip. Now I can feel the drag much more now that I'm not using the blush, which is more hydrating, but it's not terrible. I think it's probably the creamiest, most hydrating lip liner I've ever tried. So that is Lift all over the lips. And now it's on, it's pretty comfortable actually. I'm not feeling the urge to put any lip gloss or lip balm on top. Apart from the fact I would like some more colour now, but yeah, that's very comfortable actually, very comfortable. But again, once you've had a meal, you would need to reapply, but you could reapply this so quickly. It's so easy, it really is. I'm not gonna say you don't need a mirror. You can do it so quickly. You could be in a car, for instance, that's moving, I think, or on a busy train or a bus and do this, and it'll be quick and easy. They're really quick and easy. So for a quick and easy makeup look, if some of you have that sort of quick 5-10 minute makeup looks that you love for every day, this could be a perfect addition to your kit or your collection. I think what I will do though is, as soon as I'm so in love with this Makeup Forever lip gloss, I'm going to pop some of this over the top because I want to, not because it needs the hydration or anything. So there we are, that is everything I'm trying on for you today. So my overall thoughts on everything I've tried. The Super Boost Skin Tint from Makeup Forever is really good, and it's sitting beautifully, much better than yesterday, so definitely works for me better with a primer. Can you see I'm already getting a bit more shiny though? So even with the powder on top, the shine is coming through, but not in a way that's uncomfortable for me, which I actually like, because then I do get the glow without feeling tacky. So I like the way this looks now. Later in the day I probably would need to powder a bit here, unless I go in with something to mattify this area, which I probably would need to do. The only problem with that is I'm getting this dry skin at the moment, so I'd rather not. So I'm actually very happy with the way this looks. So I think if you've got dry skin, you'll get on with this very well, but I think this could equally work well for more oily skin as well. I think it's probably quite balanced. So it's definitely worth giving this a try. I wish they had actual cool shades and not just warm and neutral, but yeah, I think the colour worked well. They're very flexible usually with skin tints, and I think that this one worked well. The packaging is funky, it's something different. I don't dislike it. I don't love it, but I don't dislike it. And the lip gloss, as you know, I think is stunning. And I'm so tempted to go back for the other two glittery ones. I think it is so pretty, even though I probably picked the best, I think. And then as for these Rhode liners, where's my third one? I have to say I'm very pleased with them. I was expecting them to do what they've done, and they have. I wasn't expecting more from them is what I'm trying to say. I wasn't expecting massive longevity because of the type of product it is. I love the way it's nice and easy. So if you're somebody who struggles with a lip liner, I think you'd find this the easiest lip liner you've ever used. But even if you're someone who's extremely good with lip liner, it's just really good to have that quick and easy one. But it's certainly not one you can put on in the morning, leave in the house and expect it to be there for hours later. So just consider that. But if you're just happy to top up throughout the day and have that sort of locked in hydration, these are really good options and extremely easy to reapply. I like the fact that they're sort of giving you a bit of contour around the lips and giving you a little bit more of a fuller lip, especially when in my case I have such tiny lips. And yeah, very comfortable, very nice. So I can't say I'm unhappy with any of that. I would love to hear your thoughts, and please do let me know in the comment section below what you think of everything I've tried on today, and will you be picking any of these products up? And if you will, I would love to hear all about it. If you cannot stand them, please tell me that too. I'd just love to hear. And if you've enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button, and if you're not subscribed, I would love it so much if you did subscribe. It's so helpful to me. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so much for being at the end of one of my reviews again. I appreciate every single one of you, and I do hope to see you all again for my next video. Take care everybody, bye.